Hallo und herzlich willkommen zur 5. Folge von Let's Fail Seduce Me mit Melinda ist tot und Caroline. Und wir haben uns beschlossen, letzte Folge, die 5 Inkubi bei uns aufzunehmen und die richten jetzt gerade das Haus her für die Einweihungsparty, die unser Vater angeordnet hat. Ich mag ihn nicht. Und ich habe mir gedacht, da brauchen wir nicht helfen, weil mein Vater interessiert mich eigentlich nicht, wenn er sich so deppert aufführt. Und deswegen gehen wir mit Naomi und Suzu jetzt in einen Park, einen Spielepark. Und Arcade. Ja, das ist so eine Spielehalle eigentlich eher. Und die glauben, das sind unsere Diener. Voll lustig. It was nice driving out with friends. After all that had happened, it was good to just go out and forget my troubles.
Well, since we got you out of the house, we might as well go to the mall and walk around a bit. We did just eat breakfast after all.
Yeah, that's a good meal though. That was a good meal though.
Could have had more flavor in my opinion.
Suzu, you eat chili peppers when you're bored. Everything you eat always needs more flavor.
You never eat spicy things, Anderson. You don't know how it feels.
Anyways, after the mall, what do you want to do? We could go to the Pink Lady Cafe and chill out with Kay. I'm sure she'd love the company.
Okay.
But we have to stop by the arcade. They have this new game out called Orion. You get to control this guy named Isaku, and you're part of the rebel forces, and you get to shoot things, and there's robots, and...
Sheesh, we get it, Suzu, we get it. We'll go to the arcade.
Which one first though? I know how popular Kay is. She'll be swamped with customers later in the day.
I'd rather go in the late afternoon. She has better options during the last hour of the cafe.
So basically after the arcade?
You figured me out so quickly, Patterson.
What did I tell you about using my last name?
Well, let's go to the arcade. So we headed to the mall and walked around for a good amount of time before driving out to Moonfall Arcade. As weird as the name sounded, the arcade was one of the best arcades in the city. Kids and teenagers lined the games, watching the players at the consoles, as they anxiously waited to have their turn.
Oh, there it is!
Suzu grabbed Naomi and me by the hands before dragging us to a section of the arcade where a bunch of kids had gathered in awe and excitement. In the middle of the crowd was a large game with 2 joystick platforms and a screen that flashed the name Orion every other second. In the background of the screen, a holographic playfield glimmered before us, revealing a non-futuristic battlefield and an enemy robot charging right at the camera.
This is the game you were excited about?
It looks really cool.
That's right! And I'm gonna play it so hard I'll beat the game in one shot.
Suzu smirked and looked at me, hoping that I would join her as I usually did for partner games. I looked to Naomi, who merely rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and gave me the okay nod. I grinned before nodding to Suzu, who cheered in joy.
Woohoo! Alright, let's do this.
It took us a good half hour before we were able to step out of the platforms. A good half hour before we were able to step up to the platforms. The point of the game was to beat the government and restore freedom to the general public. We played as rebels in a robot, and the game quickly became a smash and bash game versus multiple enemy robots. Playing with Suzu was always an adventure. We both knew what our strengths and weaknesses were, so it was easy to collaborate with each other. It wasn't long before we got into the swing of the game and were beating enemies like crazy. By the time we got to the boss, we were unstoppable. It was so refreshing to beat the boss and put our 3-letter code names into the high score list.
And that is how you game. We are unstoppable, Anderson.
Suzu gave me a large smile, which made me smile back. I was happy to be able to hang out and have fun with my friends like this. I felt free from worries or responsibilities. It was something I loved. We eventually lost track of the time and wound up staying longer than we expected, making us unable to stop at the cafe before going home to dress for the housewarming party. So we drove back. Naomi and Suzu picked up clothes and other necessities from their houses before driving back to the mansion. The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and the executives of the Anderson Company to show me off. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. Hä? To be seen by my parents as a woman, oder? Hä? It was my test to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Das hat damit überhaupt nichts zu tun. Aber egal. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi's and Suzu's faces turned from smiles to complete awestruck stares. What?
Dude, you look hot.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I've had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Das ist wirklich ein wirklich schönes Kleid. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants. Ey, schaut, das ist so ein schönes Kleid. Ich hab das auch gern. Aber sie zieht sich wenigstens um. Also das finde ich schön.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Rar. Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman. Even Sam. Finde ich zwar jetzt nicht unbedingt, aber okay. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircase one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down the final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all that I could to prepare for it. Naja, nicht wirklich. Now, it was all up to fate. The other boy smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Hey Mom, hey Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
Ist auch ein schönes Kleid, das hier, ne? I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys? They didn't ask for verification or anything? I looked to the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intently at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It only had been a couple days, but living away from the one who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous. You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, He let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
The world around me stopped as my heart pounded hard in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight. Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, but they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. Let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a weight in my guts, but I had to hide it. Hat sie das nicht erwartet? As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and executive members, putting on the professional face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
I'm
so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Oh, ich hab nicht so viel Zeit.
Do you have college plans?
I feel like the questions came up one after another. It was tough to answer some of them because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
Ich habe nicht mal eine Ahnung, was Philanthropy...
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
Ich hab deine Zeit, die da abbrennen! Eventually, the questions stopped and I was back to being by myself. Naomi and Susie were mingling in the crowds and the incubi were doing their jobs, so I was all alone in a room full of strangers. I was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice
Wollen Sie mich jetzt
chairman.
verkuppeln auch noch, ihr Arschlöcher? With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
As I placed my hand in his, he raised it to his lips and kissed over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand. Mach mal das, weil wir sind ja höflich, ja.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew? Ich will mich nicht verkuppeln lassen.
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh, wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I wasn't able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's son.
Oh yeah. Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO? I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Du bist ein Arschloch.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him his space. He obviously needed it. Ich brauchte ihm jetzt nicht nach. Ich kenne ihn ja gar nicht.
He's not CEO material.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
Alter. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word and he'd lecture me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted at my housewarming party. I let out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out the window and saw a limo pull up. Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Die lispelt. Yes, Mom. My mother left my dad and me to slowly escort the guests out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad looked at me in slight disappointment. I looked back at him in confusion. What did I do?
I overheard your conversation with our guests. You were stumbling as much as Lewis did.
Ich habe nur einmal falsch geantwortet. But
I don't want to hear excuses. I expect that you'll work on your speaking skills while you remain living here.
Ich wusste nicht einmal, dass ich da ein Zeitlimit habe. Ich wollte euch das vorlesen. Yes, sir.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Oh, right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Sie lispelt. Voll arg. Will do. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad, waving back to me. With the last of the guests gone, I signed and sat on the staircase, exhausted. Phew, that was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, Princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Hush, Sam.
Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
All of us shot our heads toward the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Creepy. Skin red as blood, eyes black and gold piercings. Eyes black and cold, gold piercing into mine, roughened up clothes, and a pistol in his hand. I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dried blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in a matching fag-like clothes.
Aw, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. Okay, hat ihn gerade erschossen. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face. But...
What the fuck?
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over in aggravation. Luckily for my ears, it became quieter after the first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Ah!
The man growled and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flame that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malix did. This place is protected by magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malix's face grew to that of extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
Then what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took the chance to stand up to him instead of being powerless like I was in the dream. Malix growled at me, walking right up to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
You really don't think, do you? If you kill me, you'd be hunted down by more than just the police.
You little...
I ducked underneath Malik's incoming hand. I stared at his hand and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple of steps back from Malik's. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Malik's with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Shut up!
Oh, did I make little Matthew cry? Why don't you just grow a pair?
Enough, Malix.
The woman, who had been standing in silence the whole time, planted a firm hand on Malik's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you do. But now's not the time.
Fuck off! I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense that fire would glow from under their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his fingers like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
Creepy dude. Then Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The doors closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
A devil? There's a difference?
Yes, demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know. It's hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the third day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never been able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did all of this happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life would go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough, let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever.
Okay. Ich hätte vielleicht nicht weiterklicken sollen. Ja, dann geben wir uns das auch noch.
You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at the clock. So Leute, da machen wir jetzt dann aber Schluss. Ja, ich hoffe, es gefällt euch immer noch. Jetzt ist da wenigstens mal ein aufregender Touch drin und nicht nur Hentai. Wunderbar, und wir sind anscheinend... Wir werden beschützt von Magie. Ich finde das voll cool. Gefällt mir? Das Spiel gefällt mir. Auch wenn ich das alles selber lesen muss. Macht aber nichts. Gut, wir sehen uns beim nächsten Mal. Caroline sagt Tschüss, ich auch und Baba.